Hey everybody, it's Michael Lindsay from Visor MX. I'm here with Benny Tozzi, who is the category manager for Bell Helmets for the off-road segment. We've got a few new helmets to talk to you about today, which for everybody knows, the Moto-10 Spherical debuted a couple years ago now. You guys actually raced it for almost a year before it came out. It's been really successful. A lot of guys love it. But as always, you guys have product lines underneath that in terms of hierarchy, and that's where a lot of today's conversation is. Actually, in front of me, a lot of people might think this is a Moto-10 Spherical, but that is a Moto-10 MIPS, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So like you mentioned, we introduced Moto-10 Spherical several years ago now. Below it, we had the prior generation Moto-9 Flex, and then even below that is a MX-9. So Moto-10 has always kind of like sat on its own out there. And now I'm happy to say for this fall season of 2025 that we have little brothers below the big brother Moto-10 Spherical with some really great features and tiered benefits, and then price points that are like super compelling for somebody that might not be able to stretch to that that more expensive Moto-10 Spherical.
And that's saying the Moto-10 Spherical is fantastic. It is at the flagship level of technology, but also pricing because of that. Yeah. So I still see a good amount of guys at the track the last couple of years. They're big Bell fans, and they were in the Moto-9 MIPS because that was your good mid-range price point. Yep. So what'd you guys do to make the Moto-10 MIPS fall where it did in terms of pricing and category, and what does make it different from the Spherical, from its big brother?
Yeah, so I think like right off the bat, when we were designing Moto-10 Spherical, it was uncompromising, right? We put every feature and every benefit into that helmet to make it a competitive advantage for our athletes that then you could buy yourself, right? Like quite literally, Eli Tomac wears an out-of-a-box medium. We don't even change the cheek pads. That is Eli's helmet, So when it came to these helmets, it was time to like, okay, what could we tease out of these helmets to hit like more affordable price points, but still give that feel, that look, and performance that the higher end Moto-10 Spherical has. So like on the outside, I think it's really it's almost hard to tell, right? It's like, it looks very much like a Moto-10 Spherical, but the big thing that you're gonna notice like right off the bat is there's not that two-piece shell, right? So that two-piece shell on the Moto-10 Spherical is a big part of why we can move so much air through that helmet, right? So we discovered that it didn't really matter how many holes, intake holes that you put in a helmet. It really mattered how much air you can move out of the helmet, right? So there's a bunch of compromise you have to make by putting holes in helmets. You got to reinforce those areas everywhere that there is a hole. And by creating that two-piece shell, we created this huge vent without the compromises of all the weight or the testing penalties of having a bunch of holes in the shell. So that is one thing that you're going to lose when you get down to the Moto-10 MIPS. But what you do gain is what we call our tri-matrix shell. So this is a shell made of mostly fiberglass, but has reinforcements of Kevlar and carbon in it. Those reinforcements happen anywhere you see a hole in the shell. So the eye port, around the vents, that kind of stuff. So when we're talking about the outside of the helmet, it's almost easier to tell you what's or all the similarities and the only few differences, which is really that shell. But otherwise, you're getting the same NMR bumpers. That's the we call them no missed races bumpers, because the idea is that a collarbone injury was not a life-threatening injury, but rather the injury that took Eli, Gautier Paulin, Kaida Wolf, or Seth Hamaker out of a championship.
I was gonna say somebody used to be a prior athlete, Hayden Deegan, literally Vegas. It's still one of the most common things in moto.
Yeah, it's so simple, and and we do these EPP bumpers, which the Moto-10 MIPS still has, right? So you're getting the same visor, the same mouthpiece, the same roost guard, the same collarbone bumpers as Moto-10 Spherical. You're just losing that 2-piece shell. So you don't get the 3K carbon shell, you get the tri-matrix shell and a 1-piece design, right? And then really the differences beyond that are what's on the inside of the helmet. Again, like similarities between the two helmets, still has the Magnifusion cheek pads,
Best
right?
thing ever.
Yeah, so everybody loves the Magnifusion cheek pads because it's just easy to service, but really the idea is that this is our solution for emergency release, right?
Or like when you put them on the side of your van to dry.
Yeah, to cool off.
Seriously, these things are, every time I see this, I'm just like, why does nobody else do that?
Yeah. The only bummer is when you put them in the washer, they stick to the side and then you forget.
Stick to the washer, the dryer, you're digging out, you're like, I have my liner, where'd my cheek pads go? Oh.
Yeah, exactly. But when we look at this cheek pad, it reveals one of the differences between it and the Moto-10 Spherical. It's you're losing that virus antimicrobial liner. So that is a premium liner in the Moto-10 Spherical that we developed and worked with Virus to implement into our helmet, like first time ever that they've, a company that's, Virus works with compression type materials and moisture wicking, so really premium. Here you're still getting antimicrobial, but just a more like standard issue antimicrobial and not the super performance cool jade liner that we have in the Moto-10 Spherical. And then as you dive a little bit deeper, you're gonna start to see that you lose what is our premium rotational solution that we developed in conjunction with MIPS, which is Spherical. That ball and socket motion where we take 2 layers of energy management material, put a slip plane between them, and create this very low friction, highest performing impact liner that we have for rotational. But what you do get is a dual density EPS liner and then MIPS C solution on the inside. Commercially, they call it Evolve. So yeah, so a little bit step down. That's where you're starting to see some of the differences between the two helmets, but still prioritizing safety, still prioritizing rotational solutions, just in a tiered way. Yeah.
So when I look at the Moto-10 MIPS, I guess you have your, like you said, you have your list of things that are brought away from Spherical, which some of it is more of, like you said, like a high racer quality accessory. You do lose out on a little bit of ventilation, maybe a little bit lesser on the materials in the cheek pads, thing like that, which is maybe a little more valuable to the guy out doing long motos in the summer, racing nationals, things of that nature. But you get in here, you still get an excellent fit, because I think even more like exterior, now it basically looks just like a Moto-10 Spherical, but I've run into helmet brands in the past that as they do that tear down, even if they try to physically make them look the same, I've noticed difference in fits. Having tried one of these on, like the fit feels really consistent through your guys' whole line. So if somebody's a Bell fan, like that's a huge positive. Like I said, you get the cool factors of the magnetic cheek pads, magnetic clasp, things people are really used to Bell. The design itself, the fit, the what you got, the no miss race,
NMR bumper.
And then your guys' I don't know what you guys call, what do you call your guys' visor design? The bridge, the flying bridge?
We call it flying bridge. So we don't do a center post. The idea is that to make this very flexible and impact.
And then when it comes to safety, of course, you guys are still partnered with MIPS. MIPS has just got an amazing reputation across the line for bringing rotational energy management into helmets across the industry, across multiple industries in general. So where you would say, if you had somebody come up to you and go, okay, Spherical versus MIPS, I know there's a difference in safety, but where is this still like really competitive? And if somebody were to straight up ask you like, okay, where's the Spherical a bit better?
So I would say that it is that step above, right? This is our ultra premium, and it's like, it's hard for us to quantify, just from a legal point of view. But one thing to understand is they both pass DOT, or the same kind of certifications. This one is DOT EC 2206 certified, now globally is like the high water mark for testing standards. But we really take those testing standards as kind of the minimum, right? So we're always trying to improve beyond that, and that's where and EC226 has a rotational component to it that this helmet performs very well in. Spherical is that little bit more. To put it in terms of like the motocross like tech guy, like when you look at the coated fork lowers on a pro circuit,
A-kip fork. You're getting that like 2% better.
Yes,
but the setting is still really good.
Yes, exactly. Like we are getting just that slight bit more lower friction that allows us that little bit better performance in rotational. And with a product that's uncompromising like Spherical, it's complicated, it's hard to make, but we did it because that was that was the tip of the spear for technology.
What is the price for this? I know there's probably solid designs. Where are we at in the price?
Yeah, so we're starting out solid designs at $549. Then graphics go up to $600. And then we have a couple of special edition graphics that are maybe a couple bucks more than that. But yeah, for the base price of this helmet, it's going to be $550. Okay. We're always trying to improve our product and make it better and work better for our end consumer, and listening to them ultimately, right? One of the common complaints that we have gotten over the years as Moto-10 Spherical has been in the marketplace is that you called out our flying bridge design, we utilize pins in the side of the helmet. Now we have taken the opportunity with this helmet to increase the diameter and the durability of those pins on this helmet and Moto-10 Spherical from here on out, from fall 25 and beyond. We reverted back to a similar diameter that we had on the Moto-9 that we had no issues with. The idea is that pin is meant to shear away, right? To reduce those. It's the reason we keep our helmets like really compact shaped, but also we want this visor to break away, to not add any additional torque in an accident. But maybe that threshold was maybe just a little bit too low. We listened to the consumer. We've increased that pin diameter. I actually have the visor, the original one right here. You can see, I don't know if you want to show the camera.
Close up of this, but yeah, we have a real small pin design here, and you went to is it deeper and thicker? Or?
Yeah, well, I think it's a pretty noticeable difference. So I'll pull a visor off here for you to let you check it out.
Yeah, because I'd seen a couple guys track when these would shear, even if, like I said, they're meant to break away and shear, but if they wore kind of twisted, they would get to the point the visor would move a little too much for a guy that maybe had quite a bit of time on their helmet over like the lifespan of the helmet.
Absolutely. So
that's a big difference.
Yeah. So no more issues with those kind of like maybe you have what you feel like is a small tip over and the pin sheared, and maybe it's a little frustrating. You just got your helmet. We heard you guys, and we fixed it.
Nice, yeah. Because I remember this again. You guys had this design on the Moto-9. I remember Moto-9s. Yeah. Yes, if you crashed hard enough, they would shear off. But if you just had one over lifespan, small tip overs, I remember them not really like, in a sense, loosening up or getting too much travel from these pins going. If you had that happen to your Moto-10, we're back to the Moto-9 style here. We've got a good lifespan. Yeah.
The other thing that's going to be a big advantage on Moto-10 MIPS is that we actually took the opportunity to work a little bit on the fit of this helmet to further optimize it. So on prior gen, or on the Moto-10 Spherical, maybe the chin bar length, if you're a bigger guy, like you're wearing a large, extra large, double XL, you might have felt like the chin bar was maybe too close for you, and because of that, you had to shy away from the bell, even though you like the features like the styling, whatever. But now we've corrected that. So you're gonna see, we've increased that for those larger shell sizes. It's not a ton, but it's going to make those guys feel much more comfortable, that maybe felt like it was a little too close, or maybe they couldn't run the nose guard or the roost guard even though they wanted to, just because they needed that little bit more room.
Even a couple millimeters makes a huge difference in that perspective when it's up there.
And then the second one was that we improved the fit on the interior as well. We did a huge fit study, and like there was a small percentage of people that felt like maybe the helmet was like slightly perchy, sitting a little high. It really depends on your head shape and size. We worked really hard to get everybody a little deeper into this helmet. And again, these are like small massaging. It's not going to be a huge difference. If you're used to a Moto-10 Spherical and I gave you a new one, you might not even notice. You know, a busy day, jumping on the bike, worry about something else. I don't think you would even notice. But for those guys that felt like it was too tall on them, they're going to put it on and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, like, this is it, you know, like this is what I've been waiting for. So so it's just slightly update on the fit. That's going to affect both the Moto-10 Spherical and Moto-10 MIPS. So you'll see that update across the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready to move to MX-10, sir?
Yeah, ready.
This one I'm really excited about because in your guys' prior product line, like you always had a Moto-9 Flex and then Moto-9 MIPS that of course were like shell to shell, looked very similar, but an MX-9 to me looked a decent bit different, like down the scale, where this still, if you look at, you can pick up on the design cues, but this looks much more like its big brothers than your guys' prior like entry or lower entry level style helmet.
Yeah, I mean, this one I'm actually even more excited about because of the improvements over the prior gen helmet. And, the first thing that you can probably notice, maybe harder to pick up on screen, but when people see it in person, is that we've shrunk this helmet. This helmet could fit, for size, could fit inside of an MX-9. That's how much smaller it is in almost every direction except for like chin bar length, right? The volume is so much smaller, and that's really because of the level of improvements in technology and manufacturing that is allowing us to use or have a smaller volume helmet. So that does a lot beyond just being aesthetically looking better, smaller, but it actually moves the center of gravity closer to your head, which actually makes the helmet feel lighter. Now, speaking about weight on this helmet is almost 200 grams lighter, depending on size, than the predecessor. That is huge. You know, that's like that's a double-digit percentage lighter than the prior generation helmet. And then thirdly, the way that we really improved that old helmet just didn't ventilate very well. You know, it moves some air, but not in that way. And Moto-10 Spherical, or the Moto-10 in general, is really known for the amount of air that it's moving through to keep the rider cool, and the way that we've developed sweat management with inside of it. And this helmet, I can say, moves a ton of air, especially for the price point. Starting on I'll just jump into it if that's cool. Like the outside of the helmet, you're getting a polycarbonate injected shell. You're still getting that DOT EC 2206 certified. And then the one thing that's really cool for this, and the first for this price point in market, is that we actually have collarbone bumpers brought down all the way down to this entry-level helmet. Now they're slightly different than that of the Moto-10 series, and the big one that you're going to notice is that they're covered in our rubber gasket that follows along the bottom of the helmet. And when we were making this helmet, we really wanted to consider the consumer that is going to have this, and it's really that weekend warrior, that guy that's the more casual rider, and maybe the guy that's guy or girl that's not as precious with their helmet as the guy buying the $600 or $900 Moto-10, you know? So we wanted to add in durability to this helmet. So we covered the collarbone bumper in our rubber gasket, our lower entry point gasket. And then it's also tiered because on the Moto-10, you have that EPP, that expanded polypropylene, which is compressible and rebounds, right? This is EPS. So this is that more traditional material that you're used to just being able to compress one time. Just slightly different, still effective, only gonna crush that one time in that one accident, and then it would need to be replaced. The other thing, as you kind of dive into the helmet and considering that consumer again on this particular model, is that we really worked hard on the fit, but made it much more relaxed, right? And if you were shopping this helmet against the other two Moto-10 helmets, you're gonna notice the performance fit of a Moto-10. It's gonna squish your cheek pad.
Very hug the face.
Yeah, hug, because you know you're doing big jumps. There's braking bumps. There's big ruts, and you need that helmet to stay in place, right? Yeah. Maybe this rider is not quite attacking the same tracks and the same obstacles in that way. Maybe this is a casual rider. Maybe this is their first helmet, you know what I mean? So we wanted to make sure that it was just a little bit more plush, a little bit more relaxed, and understanding of that consumer to work better for them, right? As you dive a little deeper past the liner, you're gonna see again a dual density EPS liner, but combined with another MIPS Evolve slip plane.
How different is this from the MIPS that's in its bigger, the next step up?
So it's really similar, just slightly tiered parts on it, right? So maybe the one in the Moto-10 MIPS is going to be a little more durable over a longer amount of time and a little lighter. So you're getting a little less weight penalty and a little bit more durability when you go up. Yep.
What do you feel like is somebody comes up to you off the street and basically asks like, hey, what makes this, you kind of touched on the entry fit, but like 3 bullet points, what makes this a great entry level helmet for someone? Makes, like I said, their first motocross helmet, I'm just on those part like, hey, I just need an extra one for the kids. What makes this a great price point entry level helmet? 3 points.
Well, it's light, it ventilates, and then the comfort of the helmet. So I know those sound like a little bit generic, but really I think those are the things that are gonna stand out to the consumer when they try it, right? This helmet, I think for the value, we're talking about 200 bucks here, like 219 bucks for this helmet, that you're getting a ton of value for what this helmet costs. Yeah.
Cool. So this rounds out the Moto-10 family. So you guys now have the MX-10 as your entry level, the Moto-10 MIPS we just talked about, and then the Moto-10 Spherical still the top of the line. Outside of updated graphics on that Spherical, you had mentioned it's getting the pin update for the visors. Is there anything else with Spherical, or all the focus is on rounding out the family for this generation?
It's really just small updates. It's going to be the upgraded durable pins. It's going to be the updated fit, with getting you just slightly deeper. But otherwise, that product's the same.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so this comes in at about $200.
Yep.
Your next step up is your mid to high $500, and then your Spherical is about
in the
900 range.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Sweet. Thank you for your time, Benny.
Yeah, no problem.